software engineer. Worked for Microsoft for a little while, doing some React work and a lot of web applications. And here I am at over 40 years old, getting into game dev and trying to make a career out of this. Got into game dev after playing video games for pretty much my whole life. Started out Super Mario, Zelda, Metroid. I'm looking at a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out cartridge on the wall, hanging on the wall. Spent plenty of days pretending to be a little Mac. And here I am throwing blows and trying to make my way in this world of game dev.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I found myself coming into the game industry late too. I mean, I wasn't always part of the game industry, but on the business side, and now I've gone full-blown developer, and man, do I have so much more respect. Well, I always had great respect for the creators, but much more respect for every element of gameplay, game design, and even the quality of assets that that you decide to show throughout the whole process. You came to us as an investor first, and then had an idea, which we were just so stoked and so blessed that you had the creative ability to do so. So, like, tell us about that moment.
Yeah, well, I found you guys online. I took a look at the work that Affirmate Studios was doing on the YouTube channel, and I saw this world, this sci-fi world that just looked amazing. It looked very in tune to something that I wanted to do myself. A lot of the scenes, a lot of the environments that were being created just really resonated with where my heart was and kind of the direction I wanted to go in gaming. Full just representation of the culture, the things that aren't really being done right in video games for the past, at least when I was a kid, the past 30 years. So, I hit up Affirmate Studios and asked how I could be a part of this. And as I started getting into the scene a little bit, my kids brought Fortnite to my attention. And we actually started playing Fortnite probably about 2 years ago. And I'm a big fan of, GoldenEye. I played Halo a lot. Was always playing Halo multiplayer. Like, that just really brought me into the scene. And I always had a feeling of, hey, maybe one day I can create these kind of things, but never really got the chance. I wasn't a video game developer from the start. So it took me a while to figure out, hey, I can actually do these things. The tools were getting better. Unreal Engine was popping on the scene, 10, 15 years ago. And recently, like I said, Fortnite came on the scene, and then they came out with this UEFN, an editor that was more in league of how I wanted to create games. I saw that people
more user friendly, like
sure.
It's not like a consumer engine, because it still requires a lot of technical knowledge and education and growth, but right. It's basically an entryway for developers to learn Unreal and then grow into the actual Unreal 5.5 or 5.7 that they're on now, I think.
Exactly, right. And I was seeing, before UEFN, I was looking at the creative 1.0 scene in Fortnite. Now, I really didn't want to jump in at that time. That's not really how I was used to developing things. It looked cool, but it didn't seem like that was my spot. I was more of a programmer. I'm more of a software engineer. So when they were like, hey, we're going to open up UEFN and you can start using Verse, I was like, whoa, this is really going to start taking off here. So like I said, I was playing with my kids and fell in love with it. And I was like, hey, I want to make these maps too. So taking a look at Universe and what was there, I was like, how can we intertwine these two scenes? So taking the universe and throwing it into Fortnite and being able to have some representation of our culture inside Fortnite has just been what I've been trying to do. And yeah, just working with Affirmate Studios and bringing some of the assets and some of the textures and the feeling that you get when you're playing the universe into Fortnite. I mean, that's kind of my dream. I want to bring that part of the universe into Fortnite.
So tell us about Universe Black Moon Escape. Like what's the storyline? What's the gameplay like? How does it fit within both the universe and also the Fortnite style of gameplay?
Well, Black Moon Escape is kind of a derivative of the universe, and it is a story of a scientist who has a lab on a black moon, and there is an experiment that has gone wrong. They are trying to mine what's called solarium, and there is a really bad explosion of sorts where there's UV light that has penetrated and caused the solarium to change. Many of the scientists are changed into zombies. They're changed into a zombie form, and they have trapped all the other lab scientists in on the Black Moon. Um, so your premise is, what you're trying to do is get onto this Black Moon and save as many scientists as you can as you make your journey through. But also, as you get deeper into the environment, you become trapped yourself on this Black Moon, and it becomes survival. You're just trying to also escape and get off this moon yourself. Um, I've been on the scene for like I said, for 2 years now on the Fortnite scene, playing creative maps and so forth. And I fell in love with the roguelike scene, roguelike Fortnite maps. And so I wanted to try to bring universe into that, create a roguelike map around the universe. So that's basically what this is about. You have, you start on the map and you have one chance to make it through 21 rooms. And as you go through the rooms, you're gaining experience points, you're getting weapon rewards every room that you complete. Now, when you are eliminated, you go all the way back to the first room, to the lobby area, and you're able to upgrade your skills, upgrade your weapons. You're able to upgrade your health and your shields so that you can try to make this run again. So every time you try to proceed, and if you fail, you go back, you can upgrade yourself and try to make it through the run again.
That's what's really interesting about roguelikes is they have their, obviously the direct implication is they have their origination from a game called Rogue. But from a gameplay standpoint, games, because of the limitations of storage and memory, were all roguelikes. If you look at Mario Brothers, that's a roguelike.
Right.
Because you try to make it through a map, it's a platformer, and if you die, go back to the beginning. There's no second lives. And there weren't checkpoints until I guess there were checkpoints after the completion of each map. I don't know. I'd have to play it. But
yeah.
I was just reading something about that. And
there wasn't a continue button, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like I was just reading something about that, how that game design has been just tried and true for a very long time because it required perseverance. And perseverance is a really untapped trait in gaming. When you kind of spoon feed everything to the player, they don't often get a chance to persevere something hard unless your game is designed that way. So tell us about like all the different kiosks and how you can level up.
Well, there are in the lobby, there are let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different kiosks that you have. So I think there's 5. And the first one that you're probably going to make a step to is the weapon kiosk. So traditional to Fortnite, there are several tiers of weapons that you can purchase at the weapon kiosk. There are grays, which are common. No, that's right. Commons are grays. Uncommons are your green ones. Your blues are your rares. your purples are your epics, legendaries, orange, mythics, like kind of a goldish. And then we have exotic weapons, which are kind of a rainbowish, iridescent type of color. So what you want to do is you want to increase your weapon tiers so that when you get rewards, you can get a higher tier weapon each time you complete a room. So your first step is to go to the weapons vendor. His name is Baraka Flint. He's your weapons vendor, and he will provide you with the necessary equipment that you need to make it through each room. Another vendor that we have is a special weapons vendor. So there are some weapons that, we're going to kind of put those behind a wall a little bit because they're kind of the in-game weapons where like, you're making it through a room and you've got this big rocket launcher that you're holding, and it does kind of give the odds in more of your favor. So we put those behind more of a wall. They're kind of more expensive.
I've played it. There's times where I wish I had a rocket launcher to clear out some rooms.
Sure, right? They've got a swarm strike with it shoots off 4 different rockets at a time. That's really cool. We've got an exploding repeater rifle that you can use. So a lot of the explosive weapons are the ones that are kind of more expensive than the other ones. So you've got to go see the special weapons vendor to get those. Another kiosk that we have is the upgrade vendor, where you can go to upgrade your shields. So you start off with 100 shields. That's the amount of shields you can have, and 100 health. But if you go to the upgrades vendor, you can slowly increase that, and you can go up to 200 health, 200 shields. Now, there is another kiosk that's standing right next to the upgrade vendor, which is called the prestige vendor. And prestiging means you've gone through all 21 rooms, and you want to increase your stats even more, but since you've hit your cap, you can't. So you go to the prestige vendor, and once you prestige, that will allow you to increase your stats higher than you were previously. It does reset you back to the first level, but when you start to go higher and higher in rank, this time around, you can go even higher. You may be able to go 10 levels higher than you were the previous round. So you continue to prestige and get stronger and stronger as you progress. As many of these roguelikes, there's a timer at the bottom of the screen that allows you to see how fast you can make it through each run. So as you're getting stronger and prestiging and getting these better weapons, each run that you make, the hope is that you will be able to complete it faster than the time before that. So yeah, that is 3 of our vendors. We also have a drone vendor now that's kind of like a pet that you can take with you, a drone that will follow you around. So there's 4 different drones. We've got a shock drone, a battle drone, a freeze drone that will freeze enemies around you so they can't attack. And we've also got a health drone that will, as you are traveling through these rooms, it will help support you by throwing out chug splashes and different med kits to help you get your health and your shields back.
Now, are those independently operated, or do you have to give them direction, like the shock drone? Like
those are independently. So they're independent. They will follow you. They kind of just trail behind you and watch where you go and will follow you. And as you get closer to enemies, they will actually detect what's around you and start, firing off at the enemies and helping you complete the room.
That's very cool. So we talked about drones. We talked about the weapons. We've talked about the characters. What other characters from the universe make their appearance here?
We have the scientist, Dr. Bokpei Yi, at the moment. A lot of the other ones that are making an appearance, gosh, I don't know if you want to put that. I really don't have a list of those right now.
No worries. Tell me about, like, how does the multiplayer differ from a single player experience?
Well, the multiplayer experience is cool because obviously as you're going through these rooms, you've got somebody else to experience this with. But I've always noticed that these roguelikes, when you have somebody else with you, it definitely makes it a little easier to get through.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's more fun when you've got somebody else that's throwing you health packs or throwing you shields, or maybe you don't have the tier, maybe you don't have the gold tier or the mythic tier. So they come in and they've already been powered up. They've been playing the map for a little while, and
So they
they're
kind
able
of carry
to,
you a little bit.
right, right. And you can even unequip your weapon and pass it to your teammate. So you can
Oh,
drop that down on the ground, and now your teammate's got a gold. Hey, I can head back to the lobby. I can grab my gold too, and we can come in and we can help, defeat the rooms a lot faster.
I
Um,
love that.
yeah,
I mean, obviously you can matchmake with your friends, but um, in Fortnite's matchmaking system, will it try to align people who have been playing about the same amount of time or have the same amount of prestige?
unfortunately, it won't. It will
Okay.
match you up with anybody that's playing. But coming soon, they are going to have a skill-based matchmaking setting, so
Mm-hmm.
that as an island creator, I can say, hey, I want to, create this island as skill-based matchmaking. So people that have played the same amount or a same amount of hours will be able to join your group, and it will keep them kind of, segregated into those different skill-based
That's awesome.
segments.
Is there anything else about the game we should know?
Um, well, as you know, video game creation is a very, very hard and long process.
Yep.
Um, I'm just happy to see this thing get to the day of light. I kind of felt like I wanted to um, help to inspire other creators, especially creators of my age, to jump in and start making games. It's something that I've always wanted to be able to tell people is that, hey, I've created a game, created a video game. The one thing you can't do is say that when you're not doing it. So
That's
jump
it.
in and start doing it, start making, start creating. Everything's possible with the tools today. It's all in your
Mhm.
hands.
That's great advice. I mean, everybody thinks that game development is sort of like a young person's world for some reason. I never really got that because it takes decades to hone your craft. Whether it's you know uh, level design or engine programming or whatever. Um, but I love the idea that these sandboxes are so much more approachable to first fans like you and I who are professionals in other you know um, expertise, but like we're now approaching game development as solo and group
Yeah.
developers because you're also helping us with the PC and console game universe, which is coming out sometime in 2027.
Yes.
Um, just recognized by PC Gamer Magazine and Most Wanted show just a couple nights ago, which is incredibly humbling. Um, but yeah, development is so accessible to everyone, and I love that not only did you bring your energy and your support to universe, but you also brought this desire to be a part of the team and create, and where you saw an opportunity that we weren't necessarily focused on. Like we had actually talked about Fortnite as a step to getting to a full game. You immediately brought that opportunity to fruition through your many late nights and hard work, and we just really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's been a great experience. I mean, this has been something that, I just always wanted to do, man, just put something out there, be creative again. I've spent a lot of time writing code and things that are kind of behind the scenes that you've never seen some obscure web application out there. And it's just fun to be able to have, something on the screen that I can put in front of my kids, and they'll sit there and they'll play it for hours, and they'll bring their friends over and they'll all get, absorbed by what I've created. And I mean, that's just awesome. It's art. Like I love it.
Anything that you can share with your kids that you created and they love has to feel special.
Oh yes. Yes. It's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Well, thank you, Oz. And we're so excited to play the game. It's in a soft launch right now, but we are pushing the final updates on what, 12.12?
12/12 is the day, this Friday.
Okay. So in order to trigger all the beautiful algorithms that that the world has provided for us, everybody needs to play on 12/12 and continue playing throughout the whole holiday until you prestige like 800 times. And we would all really appreciate it. So on behalf of myself and Azil, we'd like to say thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to our universe.
Yeah.